This is what a $130,000 nightmare looks like. Our customer thought he was buying his dream car, a legendary 67 Eleanor Mustang. Instead, he got a rolling disaster. In this video, I'm going to share an experience about an unsuspecting customer that went and bought a really cool looking Eleanor Mustang that was anything but what he had hoped for. We didn't expect a real Eleanor, but nobody expected what we found. Watch the video and see how unscrupulous sellers and builders will put lipstick on a pig to make you fall in love. Fit, finish, and function are extremely important. Stay tuned to see how egregious this seller was in passing this off as a solid car. In every instance, buyer beware. First drive out, he got the shaft. Within 30 miles, the drive shaft broke off the rear end. From here, you see what he thought he was getting. It almost looks nice. When done right, these are such an iconic body style. I love these Eleanors when they're done right. Problem is, most of them aren't done right. Almost looks decent under the hood. So I'm not a fan of cheap loom like this. Oh wow, I just barely touched the loom and the wire came off the ground of the distributor. Now it's not gonna run. This thing's flopping, hose clamps holding stuff in place. I'm looking at this master cylinder. Holy, are you serious right now? Oh my God, really? And he tried to drive it like this? This is the brake line going across? Oh my God. This looks cute. The rest of this stuff is just straight up dangerous. Well, I couldn't even put it in gear. It's gonna roll away. I had to use the rear bearing to hold the car in place because there's no e-brake. Steering wheel's not clocked right. They put the cap on cockeyed to hide that. Crappy fitment. Blistering in the paint. Hood's already been rubbing despite that fit. Look at this body kit. It's all cracked. So these are a fiberglass kit and they just glassed it in, but clearly didn't bond it well at all. Chipped up. Here's the rear view mirror. That's helpful. Clearly fell off of right here. And, oh hell no. That's not even written on the dash. It's a freaking sticker. What in the world is going on? This headliner's falling down. This is all beat up. TMI interior, I guess that's cute. And then there's no trim here. This is why I have this checklist. I'm trying to help people from buying cars like this. I'm not a car dealer, I'm a car mechanic. We build cars and we see stuff like this all the time. I haven't even looked underneath the hood yet. 135 grand. It came in on a tow truck and I'm seeing this kind of stuff. This kind of stuff, if you're spending 135 grand on a car, this kind of stuff is not acceptable. This car better be amazing mechanically if we're accepting stuff like this, which we know it's not because it's here for mechanical issues. I was told it's bad. I haven't gotten it inside yet. We've got to move some cars around and we'll see what the heck is going on. So I can see what the customer saw in this car. I mean, there's nothing more iconic than an Eleanor Mustang. This 67 Fastback is such an amazing stylistic design. In fact, we had it parked in front of the shop for just a few hours while we were waiting to pull it inside, and I had like 3 different people stop and take pictures and totally be like, dude, this car is so legit and awesome. It's pretty awesome, but it's not very legit. Look at how the hood fits. The hood's all the way closed. It doesn't fit very well, does it? And the back body line gap on the hood is also huge, but it's also chipped already right here. So clearly it doesn't open and close properly. All the window trim's been replaced, but it's falling off already. It's brand new, I can see, because it's got the blue that came on any traditional piece of aftermarket chrome. They must have popped it on and then tried to peel it off. It seems like they were probably trying to throw this car together to get it ready for sale. Over here I see things like this where we've got an aftermarket mirror put on here, but whatever mirror used to be here, they didn't bother to fill the hole. That would have been nice to notice before paint. Gaps, as I say, not hideous right here, but we're getting cracking, more cracking down here. Tires have been rubbing. Just some good signs that the car is probably not as nice as you might hope. You got to look for these things when you're first looking at a car. Around the windows, we've got a bunch of chipping here. I mean, a bunch of chipping here. And more cracking. More scratches up here and chipping. And bad gaps right here. So really poor fit and finish. Also on the body, you can see how bad the trunk lid fits. It's got a huge wide gap here, and it tends to go open and closed and not even across the top. It's really low here. I mean, that is not good fitment. I don't care who you are. And then when we look at the back, you can see that the spoiler area doesn't fit right. It's almost even at the top here, really low here. As I come all the way across to the other side, you see that it's high and low. At the same time, the bumper gap is huge on the driver's side, and as I go across to the passenger side, it's huge, but it's less huge. I can't get the same number of fingers in there. So from behind, the whole car looks like it might be twisted, or maybe it's been rear-ended. Maybe it's just poor assembly, which we're gonna see throughout the process of looking at this car, or it's a sign of something bigger. I always say it's so important to go see a car in person, but what if you don't even know what you're looking for? To avoid a nightmare like this, download my free buyer's guide and checklist in the links below. Let's put this car up in the air and see what's going on underneath. That's where we really start to see a lot of problems. As I pointed out earlier in the video, the reason this car got towed in and what gave us a hint of all the problems to come was the fact that the rear end actually snapped and the drive shaft fell out of the car. This is the pinion gear that comes out of the rear end. It literally snapped off in the drive shaft. I'm guessing there was no fluid in the rear end. I'm gonna grab a light, trade out for the stupid drive shaft, and I'll walk you through some of the additional problems that we're gonna find. So if you come around here, you can see, like I said, the rear end, the pinion yoke just straight up snapped off the drive shaft. So the rear end pinion snapped, drive shaft fell out. It doesn't even look like it had any oil in it. I don't see much sign of any fluid here. It's nice because it's a Ford 9-inch, so it's probably a quality rear end, but if you don't put fluid in it or you do a crappy install, this is what you get. You can see where the drive shaft was hitting the floor when it came out. It knocked the floorboards, ripped the brake line out. Also, not too cool. So we got a nice Curry 9-inch rear end with a poor installation. Maybe the guy just forgot to put fluid in it, but as we go through this car, we'll start to see a lot of poor quality workmanship and lipstick on a pig that makes me think somebody was in over their head with the build. I got things like this. This is my fuel line. This is my fuel feed line coming out of the gas tank. It's just flopping over here. It goes under the brake lines and then comes around here and goes over the frame connector. And if you can come under here and see, this is literally the fuel line. That zip tie looks really secure. This line is all kinked. I can't believe that that's how you would use a fuel line to feed a 550 horse 347 stroker. Not to mention, this line right here is completely kinked. Took the biggest clamp, or the only clamp he could find, and called that good enough. Actually, it looks like it's been leaking too. Over here, when the drive shaft broke, it actually broke the transmission. So if you come over here, this is a really nice Tremec TKO or TKX 5-speed transmission. This ear is completely snapped off. We've got a bolt missing right here. This bolt is loose. And the top bolt up here has another broken ear. So right now, 30 miles into driving the car, the rear end grenaded, took out the transmission, What, that's about 10 grand right there. As we look closer at the transmission install, I wonder what's going on here. This is the transmission crossmember. Why is it welded in place? Since the bolt holes didn't line up, they didn't bother to get the right crossmember, didn't bother to drill the holes, didn't bother to bolt it in. It's cool. We'll just weld it in place so that way it's not serviceable at all. So next thing I'll be doing is cutting the crossmember out, pulling this hunk of junk transmission out, and trying to get a replacement. I really love this boot. That's going to keep all sound, heat, and dirt from getting inside the passenger compartment. That's really what I expect to see on a $135,000 car, isn't it? And geez, this is our front to rear brake line. It did not get knocked out by the drive shaft. It already was flapping. I could tell because right here, you see that baling wire? I don't think that's factory on any Mustang. Baling wire here too. So clearly that wasn't strong enough to hold up to a drive shaft hitting it. It pinched it, luckily the brakes didn't go out. But this thing wasn't even secured in the first place. He told me he didn't really have much rear brake. Well, I wonder why. We're leaking brake fluid right here, so I'm sure the back brakes weren't even actuating. I just don't understand who installs stuff like this. This is just such poor quality, low-end work. I can't believe somebody would pass it off at any price. I really hope a shop didn't do this. I hope some guy did it in his backyard because that's the only thing that would justify this type of workmanship. And even at that, it's a joke. I feel so bad for my customer. He went out and tried to buy a really nice car. He bought with his heart. He didn't really know what he was looking for. At a glance, he thought he was getting a good car. He didn't get a good car. So we're going to try to step in and help him fix the major issues, get the car running, get it right, get it tight so he can put this behind him, make this a thing of the past, and drive off into the sunset, if you will, and enjoy his car finally. So ideally, that's where we'll get. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep showing you more things wrong with the car. I don't know what the deal is with the exhaust just being cut off. Clearly, when they put the rear end in, they just used whatever exhaust system was in here before. It's cut off because it doesn't fit. It's barely attached up here. It's hitting at the transmission cross member because, again, they didn't do anything to modify properly to get it to fit right. Check out this transmission mount also. It's cool. I mean, it got a little bit of purchase on that, and that should hold the transmission nice and tight. But like I said, it's welded in, so I guess it can't fall out. In case of an incident like this where the drive shaft falls out, it'd be nice if he had an e-brake. So if his brake lines got broken, he could at least hit the parking brake and use it as an e-brake. But none of that's even in the car. Up front, you can see we've got a 347 stroker engine, or so we're told. He wants me to check and see if it's even really a 347. So a little bit later in this video, I'll repair the broken coil wire and try to start the engine. I'm dying to see, does it have the right balance? Does it shake? 347s require a very specific internal, external balance. Fords really vary on that if it's a 28 ounce or a 50 ounce. So let's fire it up and see how that works out. But you're seeing a fresh motor, theoretically, a new transmission, and a new rear end. But what we've got here is a really old front end. We're running a stock sway bar that looks like it's probably from a 6-cylinder. It's about as big around as my pinky. We've got worn out bushings on our strut rods. And if you can see here on the control arms, this control arm is totally tweaked. You can see a large gap right here, and you can see the shiny part of the inner shaft. And then this side of the control arm is completely pinned against the bracket. So that arm has a blown out bushing. You're going to see the same here on the other lower control arm bushing. Completely blown out. Idler arm. I mean, just put a few service parts on it, would you, if you're going to sell it for $135? I don't even think that has a cotter pin in it, does it? No, so that's death trap right there. We also saw this. See how this brake rotor is really worn? It looks like it's brand new, but check this out. This bolt you can see here is backing out. So the caliper is loose and flexing around whenever you hit the brakes. So we got no rear brakes, dangerous front brakes, a brake master cylinder that was about to fall off the car. We've got worn out suspension, a rear end that blew up, a transmission that blew up. So we need to get this car right so it's safe going down the road. Who cares what he spent? He's in it now. We can't blame him. He didn't know. He actually thought he bought a nice car. Now we all have a problem on our hands. Let's work together and fix it. So that's where me and my team are going to step in, help him find the problems. We don't have to fix everything. We just need to fix all of the obvious stuff and get the car back on the road. And I guess one last thing to capture before we go up top. This is the bottom side of the battery tray. It's clearly all rusted out. I'm sure that's the battery itself right there. The tray is rusted all the way through the fender. We've got some random bolts attached to nothing. And the quality of this wiring is definitely suspect. It's so disheartening to sit and pick a car like this apart. If you met the guy that bought the car, he's the nicest guy, works hard for his money just like the rest of us, and all he wanted was a nice car. But that's not what he got, but ultimately that's what he'll get. I'm gonna try to repair this wire right now. The negative, as I said, came off the coil, so let me repair this wire and I'll see if I can get this car to start up. Voila, I got my coil plug back in. I guess we'll see if this thing fires up. I haven't even heard how it sounds yet. I assume it runs because obviously he was driving it to break it. The other question he had for me is it what he was told it is? It's got aluminum heads. It's supposed to be a 550 horsepower 347 stroker. From here, it looks like it might be. It looks like it's rebuilt. It looks pretty fresh. It looks like it's got some go fast goodies, but it looks like it's got a used carburetor and a sprayed intake manifold. So again, I really don't know the quality of what's here. All right, let's see if this thing will fire up. Put her in neutral. I guess it doesn't matter, we don't have a drive shaft. But anyways, probably doesn't start unless it's in neutral, most of these 5 speeds. Nothing. Okay, no power to anything. So let's go under the hood and see if we can see if this battery will juice up. Aha, got me. Had a little battery shut off thingamajig. Cable's loose, but that should work. Wow, this cable looks nice. Hopefully I get enough ground to be able to start the car. Clearly the fan's on all the time, so that's gonna have a tendency to drain the battery. Again, not the way it should be, but I digress. All right, second time's a charm, I think. Radio works. Timing's way too advanced or something else is up. Cold-blooded, but it runs. There's something good here. And I'm not fast enough to get under there. All right, Ford trick. That's one thing I don't love about Fords. They're easy to steal because all I had to do was jump across the starter solenoid to get it to fire up. It's nice when you're working on the car, but it's kind of weird that it's so accessible. Anyways, I had to get out here because I can't get it to idle on its own. I'm starting to see why he bought the car. The motor sounds pretty healthy. A little bit of valve noise, which I expect. Probably got a wicked valve train. I got a little bit of an exhaust leak over there. When I was inside, I saw it had oil pressure, so. Distributor's a little loose. I think we got something good here. We can work with that. And she sputters out. Let me turn off this fan. So all in all, this poor guy bought a $135,000 Eleanor that was absolutely not what he was expecting. I'm seeing some frame damage here, major mechanical problems, although we have what hopefully is a good engine. Really bad paint and fitment and finish, although it is presentable. So we've definitely got our work cut out for us in trying to save this Mustang for this customer. He overspent on $135,000 Shelby replica Eleanor 67 fastback Mustang. But not all is lost. It's just a pretty bad deal. I think we can get in here, rebuild the rear end, get a new transmission case and or rebuild the transmission or replace it. Do the drive shaft, do the brake lines, fix the brakes, and then I think we might have a car that will actually run, stop, and drive safely. Once I get it running and driving, we'll do a lot of QC, run through the basics, and just make sure we can get this car safe so he can get out on the road and start to enjoy driving his car. He thought he was going to be on the road immediately. This is going to set him back at least a month and probably $25,000 just to get it going. But if we do all that, he should have a solid car, and hopefully he can be cruising down the road this summer. So when you guys look to buy cars, please, please, please go look at them in person. Look carefully. Buy with your brain, not your heart. I know it's a wicked looking car. I don't care how much money you have. I don't think any of us have $25,000 to waste on the wrong purchase. Buyer beware.